Okay, here's the Eachine DVR-03 all-in-one. It's got adjustable power levels, 25, 50. And I don't know if it has any other specs on here. Okay, 72 channels with race band. 1-cell LiPo battery. And it just arrived in the mail today. It's being back-ordered from Banggood. So this is what they give you. Basically the camera itself and a little adapter if you want to use the larger battery connector that comes on some micro quadcopters. The main reason I wanted to make this video is that right off the bat, I just opened it half an hour ago, the SD card connector is not soldered on. It's barely connected in the back. I'll zoom in and show you guys. Let's zoom up. So here you can see this is where the micro SD goes in, and it looks like it's maybe fine, but I'm not going to really push it in because I'm worried I'm going to break it off entirely. But if you bend it up, you see that joint there? The solder is not actually connected on the front, right there, that bottom right corner of the micro SD connector, and it's the same way on the back here. Yeah, you see that moving up and down? So the micro SD slot is, I think it's barely soldered right there, and I believe the actual contacts for the pins on the micro SD, they're all behind here. I think they are actually connected. They're what's holding it on. But if you were to push this in hard or try to move it around, it would just break off. So what I'm going to do about that is I'm going to try and repair this solder joint here with my soldering iron. So here I've got the soldering iron ready now. I'm going to try and show you how to repair this joint. Okay, it looks like that's in focus. I'm just using the corner of the soldering iron here. You can see, yeah, you don't want to apply too much solder or it could go inside the connector. I'm going to put a little more. It's actually easier with this type of joint to use a large soldering iron tip and just use the corner, which will conduct the heat in faster. And you don't need really good precision, but you want to get a lot of heat fast so that you don't melt the whole thing if you're slowly heating it up. And I think I'm going to apply a little more solder back here too. This one's really close to that. Well, I guess the other thing is a little bit higher up there. Okay, hopefully that's still within. Yeah, I don't think I damaged anything. The ones on the back, I guess if I remove the antenna, I was going to remove this antenna anyway because I don't like how rigidly it's attached. So here I'm going to show you how to remove the antenna. Again, you want a big soldering iron, you want to heat up this whole area, then you want to heat up that bottom, and then it should just fall off. You shouldn't have to pull on it at all, because that could risk removing the copper from the circuit board. So you want to just be able to heat up this whole area, including the bottom little pin that goes right there, that connects to that little tiny pad, and you want to heat up this area too. Then make sure when you connect the new one that you don't have any shorts. Like if you accidentally connected that middle pad with these side pads, you would short out the antenna, and it would probably damage the video transmitter, depending on what power setting you have it at. But basically I don't want to test that theory, so let's not go there. So a little bit about these circular polarized antennas. I actually really like the sturdiness and the symmetrical, the way it's manufactured, but it is actually quite heavy. I think it's solid brass or copper, and these lobes are pretty thick. So I have to get my little gram scale to weigh it, but it weighs quite a bit. And it also, this wire here ends up totally plated with solder, even though it is technically coax, it's a flexible cable in there. The outer shield is so plated with solder that I'm worried when you crash, this thing is going to actually break off the circuit board and ruin your video transmitter. So I prefer to put, if I'm doing really short range, I actually just use a tiny little dipole wire antenna sticking out that I make with some silicone insulated wire. So we'll show you that. Okay, it's been a few minutes and I've since lengthened the antenna by quite a bit with a coaxial wire. I decided I did want to try and keep the or lobe antenna, but I didn't want the short thing, the short wire. So I'm going to pre-tin these connections. So now I've got my solder on there. And then I'm going to apply some more solder to sort of pre-tin these side joints. Oh, this is the wrong side. I wonder if I do want to go do it on the back. I was thinking about having it come out the side even. The main thing, I don't want to have something sticking up so high that then when it crashes it just flies off and rips the circuit board apart. Okay, I'm gonna cut this shorter. Cut the sides shorter. Okay, we got it soldered in the middle there. And then solder, you can kind of push these side ones down when you solder them. And there we go. There, I'll try and zoom this in a little bit. So you can see there, if I can bring this closer. So there's what the solder joint looks like. I think it's okay. You can see up here. To get these off, you have to actually heat up. Well, actually, you can just heat up this side with your iron and pull the whole wire out, and then it'll kind of rip out the middle part, and you can pull and then heat up the top and pull out the other one. Let's zoom back out. So now we got one that has a nice flexible antenna. I think this is a lot less likely to get caught, whereas the other one, it would have gotten caught really close and then banged into something. This one will kind of like bend back. At least that's, I might even put something to try and make this like thing slide along it. Maybe some, I don't know, so it can't be metallic, of course. You'd want something plastic so that it doesn't affect, and it'd have to be really light, so it's kind of a tricky thing to do. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, bend it out of the way. I just didn't want something getting caught. Which, if I was going to do it that way, I might want to try and mount it down entirely. I feel like this is still better than the other one was, though. So I'll just call that a day. Okay, so here's without the antenna in the way. You can really see the top one. If I put the SD card in here, the top one, look at that, it's still not connected at all. And the back one, too, on the top is not connected also. So the only one holding it in was this one barely, and then the pins on the back, which are hopefully soldered. I can't even see them all from here without taking off this whole board. Hopefully they're soldered so that the SD card doesn't fly off. I'm going to attempt to solder those without taking the thing apart, which you could do, but you'd have to do these 3 pins, these 3 pins, and these 2 pins, which is kind of, then you have to clear the holes out to get it back together. It'd be a pain. Okay, so I've got my soldering iron ready. I got a smaller tip. This is kind of an angled, rounded tip because I do need to get it between these 2 circuit boards here. Okay, I'm going to clean my soldering iron over here. I think we got it, that one. I'm not sure if there's even a pad under there that it's soldering to. I don't know. a little hard to tell if they even actually placed a pad there. Gonna burn myself there. Looks like there is, but I might not have heated it up long enough. This is what happens if there's a cold solder joint. Sorry, this thing's getting in the way. Okay. I'm holding it up closer now. And you can, I'm actually using the camera as a microscope, you can really see there is a pad there, but I didn't heat it up long enough. Oh, there we go. I think, doesn't seem like the solder wants to stick to that pad. Must be a ground plane, and there's a lot of copper, so it's not heating up very quickly, so I'm going to try and leave the iron there long enough. Yeah, it's heating up the whole circuit board, even like the opposite corner. I can feel it on my finger, so that's definitely a ground plane. So I think I finally got the solder to bond to it, but that took, you know, a good 10-15 seconds, not quick. So that pad is not thermally isolated. This is kind of a cheap board design. You know, you're supposed to have thermal isolation sections that allow the heat to get to those kind of things faster. So this one, I can't do it from this angle. Can I do it from above? Looks like I could do it from above. I need to get some solder on there first. So let me try and refocus this. Okay. Get some solder. Okay, clean off the iron. So I'm going to heat it up. Solder didn't go in the right spot. Heat up some more solder. Okay, it's on the, see, it's on the micro SD right now. I better not get too close to that. Right behind there, if you get solder in that hole behind it, that's the part of the spring mechanism to keep the SD card in. That might prevent, I mean, you could probably still get it in and out, but you wouldn't have that spring action when it goes in and out. Okay, but it didn't actually bond to the circuit board yet. You can see that square pad here. Let me zoom in again. You see that square pad behind there? That is not bonded to it. It's still a cold solder joint. So now I can put away, I can use my extra hand again because I don't need the solder. I already got solder there. Now I'm gonna carefully get the iron, try to keep this in focus. Get the iron here and hold it down and just wait for it to flow. You're watching for that flowing solder, which hasn't happened yet. Come on. Still not flowing. I'm pushing towards the board because the thing's kind of bent away from it. Okay, I think it might have flowed just then. Yeah, so now it's flow. I don't want to keep it too hot too much longer. Oh, and it cools down quick because this is connected to the entire board. It's like the board is hot way over here because that copper layer goes all over, which is not, they should have designed it with proper thermal via sections. Okay, I think that's joined now. Maybe I should probably let it cool down a little more. Okay, now that we got solder on that side, solder on this side, we will try to put in the SD card. Oh, it still snaps into place. And if I bend it out gently, like before would have basically ripped off the whole connector and this thing would be rubbish. It now, of course, doesn't move. And I believe all the little connectors on the back are soldered, the ones that I didn't solder. Those are the only things that we're connecting this on. And maybe barely that one. All the three main mount points were not soldered. So, yeah, beware. Okay, here's the settings for this DVR-03 camera. So to change the power level, long press the button for 5 seconds until digital display flicker, then short press the button to change the power. So 1 hyphen stands for 25 milliwatt, 2 hyphens stands for 50 milliwatt. 5 seconds after setting, yeah, it'll go back to the normal mode. So let's try turn this thing on and see what happens. Okay, I'm turning on my power supply. I got 4 volts going to it from a regulated power supply through these wires. So it's not running off a battery, it's running off, like, this is simulating a fully charged lithium polymer battery at 4 volts. So there, I think those are the channel and the frequencies. And I guess the power level, so that, yeah, 3 must mean it's on the highest power level, the 250 milliwatt, or 200 milliwatt. And I can't easily show you my, okay, here I'm going to attempt to show you the exact power this is using. So I have my Regal DP832 programmable power supply that'll show you voltage, amps, and watts all in one. It's really nice. So we'll go over to, I have it on the 3rd channel here, so the one on the right, and then I will turn it on, and it's on 4 volts, you can see at the top, 3.999, and 0.43 amps, which equals 1.8 watts. And if you look at the back, it'll, when it does that little, yeah, that's the 1, so that's the power level 1, which is 25 milliwatts, and channel 5 and band E. And then if I hold this down, long enough, there, now I can change it to 2. So this is on the 50 milliwatts, so just double, it's just a little more power, and it goes to about 2 watts. So 0.480, yeah, and 2 watts of power. And we'll go back down here, 3.5, 2.4, fluctuates a little bit, but that's the power level. And I'm not sure, right now it's actually not recording, so I guess we'll have to do another test once it's recording. See up here, now it's drawing about almost 2.5 watts, so a little, maybe only 50 milliwatts more. A little more on it, maybe 50 to 100 milliwatts more on average, but not very much more power to record, so you might as well be recording power-wise. Let me turn this back down to the lowest setting we can see. This thing gets very, very hot. Oh, I think I missed it there. Hot enough to burn you. Like it's almost burning my fingers right now. It's a little hard to get into the. I think I wasn't pushing the button hard enough, maybe. Come on, go. It's supposed to go to that one where it does the 3 lines. Maybe it doesn't let you change the power level when it's recording? Huh, yeah, now it's only drawing 1.0 watts. Oh, 0. Oh yeah, there's a 0 power level where it actually turns off the video transmitter. So I must, without the video transmitter, it uses only 1 watt. I think that's what we're seeing here. So that might actually be a useful mode if you're not going to use the video transmitter, if you're just using it as a recorder. I'm not sure if it's recording now. I'll look at this video file later and we can see if it was recording this whole time. But the transmitter's off.